why you think it was that Shedeur wasn't drafted in round one?
And I love this game. I love it more than anything in the world. And I've watched it all my life, from the time I watched with my father, until this day. And I've looked at a lot of areas of this game, trying to get an advantage as I tried to get better in this game. I have no earthly idea of what I just witnessed. In all of my years of playing, watching, studying this game, I have no earthly way of explaining what I just saw. When we talk about what I saw, no. Let's not be simple and singular. When we talk about what we saw on the college football field, the last few years with this young man, there's no way that happened. I hear people talking about his arm strength, though I've been to quite a few games and watched him play, where he stood on one hash mark and threw that out ball all the way to the other side of the football field, and he didn't dirt that football. He made those completions all the time. I've seen him throw the deep balls and make perfect throws in the deep ball. He's as accurate as there is a quarterback coming out of college football. And the value we put on quarterbacks in this league, that's shocking that Shedeur Sanders did not get drafted last night. That's just, and asking me what was the reason, I don't know. It's the answer. I don't think in all of my years of being around this game, I've ever said, I don't know. But I can say at this time, I don't know.
You know, as I sat and I watched the draft, and I tossed and turned and moved around in my chair, every pick goes by, and I kept, just like I'm just scratching my head. And I'm trying to understand what it is that I see, because I think I'm a hell of an evaluator. I don't give a damn what nobody say in terms of talent. What is it that I see that they don't see? But I couldn't.
Or what they see that I can't see.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I play with a ton of quarterbacks, so I think I have a PhD in the area of quarterbacking.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so when I'm looking at it and I'm sitting there and I'm having conversations with people that are sitting there with me, and I started counting and thinking, I'm saying to myself, okay, let me play with my brain a little bit, Paul, to try to figure out why. Come up with a reason why. Mm-hmm. Let me just come up with a reason why so I can try to get some sleep tonight. And I said, okay, so there's really 4 teams that need quarterbacks. After Cam Ward was taken by the Titans, there's really only 3 teams that need quarterbacks. And all 3 of these teams, I looked at and I said, well, they don't want no rookie quarterback, really. They want a veteran guy because those general managers' jobs are on the line. And if they take a rookie quarterback that doesn't give them what they're looking for, they're going to be on the streets. So they rather deal with a veteran. This is what I'm playing with my mind, and I'm saying this, and I'm processing it. And I'm saying, okay, you got the Giants, you got the Browns, you got the Steelers. Because every team got their quarterback long term.
Saints.
But here's what I'm going to say. But the Saints feel like they still got Carr. You remember they gave him the money in the offseason now. They just gave him another whatever guaranteed money in the offseason. So I'm sitting there and I'm saying, well, they ain't thinking about the future. Even though Mickey Loomis has been at the Saints for quite some time, he at the end of the road at this point in time. Okay, he's kind of at the end of the road. So I'm playing with it though, Michael, I'm thinking about it. And I said, Cam goes to Tennessee. These other general managers and head coaches that need quarterbacks, all are on the hot seat. Whether it's the Giants, the Browns, they all on the hot seat. Even our Pittsburgh guy and Mike Tomlin, we love. Noise comes out of Pittsburgh about his job security every single year. Do I want to take a young quarterback that I'm going to have to play, and if it don't work out, I'm going to be on the streets? Or do I take my chance with a veteran guy that gives me some stability, and I do it that way? So I'm sitting here trying to play with that to make sense of it, and that's what I came away with. When you look at these teams, they got influenced by all the outside noise leading up into the draft about who Shedeur is, what Shedeur is, rather than doing their own scouting They didn't want to be the first. They didn't want to say, well, let me take him. Let me take him. Let me take him. So they said, no, we going to pass on him right now. We rather wait to see him fall in our lap late, because when Pittsburgh passed him at 21, at that point in time, I said, that's exactly what's going on, Michael and Paul. They're sitting around scared to make their own decisions based on the scouting and evaluating that they did, because they like him, but they don't want to make a bad decision based on the noise that's out there about him.
I mean, like you said, Key, there was 4 slots that he could have been taken at that needed a quarterback. I thought he would go to Pittsburgh. Giants traded back into the first round. Obviously, they did what they did. But this, to some degree, happened to me to a lesser extent. You know, I was projected to go in the top 5. They were like, well, yes, character issues. It was nothing about my play. And because all the things that we heard on his reputation had nothing to do about his play, really.
Or off the field stuff. He ain't done that.
Yeah, but he ain't had. But so now they try other ways to attack you. They attack your character, you know, your attitude, things of that nature. Oh, he's arrogancy, you know, too cocky. You know, those are things. But those, to me, are traits that make you great. So I really love the things that he said, and I paid attention. You know, he was like, you know, he stood up in front of the crowd and was like, you know, I thank you guys for being here. You know, things of that nature. Addressed the family and friends that was in the room, but he said the fuel to the fire. And see, that's what happened to me, Michael. When I slipped, like I said, to a lesser degree, it added more fuel. So maybe this could be a great thing for him, you know, something like this. Because if he turns out to be what we up here on this panel think he can be, then this can make you hungrier moving forward. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise, you know, because I couldn't point my finger on one thing that I can say got him to this point tonight to where we're still talking about him standing around waiting to get picked.
Right.
And so hopefully this does add fuel to his fire to go to wherever he gets drafted and he show up and show out. That's all I can give him.
Paul mentioned that the Giants jumped back in the draft. The Giants traded back into the first round for a quarterback, but they selected Ole Miss's Jaxson Dart over Shedeur at number 25. I scratched my head about it. I thought about it again, you know, and I say to myself, why would they do that? What makes them think that Jaxson Dart is a better pro prospect than Shedeur, given the fact that Shedeur has the film, he has all the different things that we've seen? Was it crazy, though, Michael, for them to pass on Shedeur and draft Jaxson Dart?
You know, it was, they got a position of need, and they can have a difference of opinion on which player they think is the best player from me and still feel that position of need. I have to say that's okay. Because now if they jump back in and then don't draft a quarterback, oh my God. And you jump back in the first round, you didn't get Jaxson Dart, you didn't get Shedeur. Now I got to jump all over you, and you need to solidify that quarterback room for the future. But a difference in opinion on who you think is better, I can take that. Even though I don't agree with that, and I don't, you know, I can't, I think in New York you have to consider always the atmosphere in the audience you're putting him in front of. And Shedeur, I thought, was built for that atmosphere, built for that audience. I don't know enough about this kid personally to know if he's built for that, but we're about to find out.
I know him a little bit. Came from Utah High School, Mr. Gatorade Player of the Year. Was at USC for a short stint. He was supposed to be our guy.
I'm not just talking about on the football field.
No, I'm saying
you don't get this on the football field. They've tried that. That's why all these other quarterbacks that go to New York, oh, he has all these traits we need on the football field, but it's something you got to get off the football field. A great relationship with pressure, because that's the cooker you're going.
No, I'm saying I know him a little bit. He was at USC. I know him at Ole Miss because he played for Lane Kiffin. So I've watched him play. I can understand in their thought process, as always, we looking for the next Michael Irvin. We just had Josh Allen in Buffalo. We're looking for the next Josh Allen. And Jaxson Dart could run a little bit. He got some ability to run, and he'll try to run people over, do some of that Josh Allen stuff. So I can see how they could fall in love with him. But
I can see. And it goes back to what we talked about. Now, Brian DeBoer, if you were to start working with him, and even if this season don't go well and you put him in and he has good success, then they can say, well, we got to keep you around for continuity for him.
Yeah.
So I understand
it's
that.
It's that
part.
whole game that is being played. If for some reason Russell Wilson falters or Jameis Winston falters along the way, and you put Jaxson Dart in 5-6 games left in the season, and he shows some of the things,
Right.
he's gonna point to
That's how
Buffalo.
you about it. Right.
It's a game. That's all it is. It's a game.
Let me have time. We can get him to Josh Allen.
Plus, you got to think about this one and connect the dots on this as well. The last quarterback that took him to the Super Bowl came out of Ole Miss. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
But he had that thing that I was talking about.
I understand.
He was bored. He grew up in a pressure cooker like Shedeur.
And then the last quarterback they had also was close to the organization and the family in Daniel Jones. So you look at a little bit of that. It's just the way that the NFL business is done, Paul. It's a whole lot of shenanigans behind closed doors.
Manning's got them drafted?
No. I'm saying it's just a connection. They looking at it and going, Ole Miss, we was great. With him, we won 2 Super Bowls. It's just that red, white, and blue. It's just something about that. When they go to Miami and they draft the receiver, they look, they go, ooh. They go to USC. Everybody 6'4", walking through with a fade. Ain't gonna be Keyshawn, but they think it is.
We got a defensive lineman. That's how we won the Super Bowl before.
That's how they think.
Now we got their quarterback.
That's how they think.
So I could dig that from Ole Miss. I understand.
I mean, it's a little crazy to me based on the projection.
Yeah.
Now, we never know how it's going to turn out when they get to the next level. I mean, we saw last year Caleb, the #1 pick, and we saw Jaden Daniels, who turned out to be the better quarterback. We saw guys like Bo Nix. Mm-hmm. And it's early for all of their careers, so we never know where Caleb is going to project. But based on the projections and the reputation, it should have been Shedeur, just based on that. But like I said, we don't know once they get to the next level, things change. Who's coaching? What system you're playing in? Who's your OC? How are they going to play you? The system matters. So from the outlet, it was a little different, a little weird to me to see that he didn't get picked up by the Giants when they traded back into the first round or the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.